Couple of questions to keep in mind before you watch the video is, was this justified? Was it not? Uh, Pamela has mental health issues. She had schizophrenia reportedly. It's reported that the community knew she had mental health. They say she wasn't a bad person. She had outstanding warrants, but they were misdemeanors. The cop said he knew about her history of warrants, which makes me question, did he know about her mental health? There was also a report that the cop lives in the community, though it hasn't been confirmed, which is pretty interesting. I hear the internet is split on this, but with one side particularly saying, that's in defense of Pamela, saying that he should have found another way. I want you to watch the video and let me know what you think. Was there a way for him to de-escalate from when he went to handcuffs to the taser gun to then shooting her, which is very controversial and debatable? It's a question that I wonder about. How, as an officer, do you de-escalate when somebody's escalating? I think they're supposed to be trained in... Are they supposed to be trained to de-escalate? Or are they supposed to escalate systematically, like one by one, which is what it seems like he did here? How does that work? I honestly don't know. And how do you de-escalate if somebody's going for grabbing your taser, your weapon? Maybe once she was on the floor, he could have backed off. Maybe he could have called for backup. It's hard to say once you're in the scuffle, when you're fighting. And honestly, how does a woman overthrow you as a man? I want to know also, when is it justified for a police officer to shoot somebody? That's what I was kind of wondering. Like, because a lot of people, they feel how they feel. There's a lot of different varying opinions. So I'd like to know from you guys, when is it justified? How long does it take? Does the officer have to have a gun to their head to then it be justified to, let me try to take my gun out while there's a gun at my head and try to point at this person? Or... I don't know. For you personally, I'd like to know from the community, from people out there, when is it considered justified?
I'm walking. I'm actually walking to my house. Right now. You actually arrested me.
It popped the...
You actually arrested me. Like, why? Why? You didn't let me free you. I'm pregnant.
What up, It's iCkEdMeL. That was Pamela Turner that was shot. She has 2 kids, I believe in their 20s, and 3 grandkids from what I read on CNN. And this is kind of a controversial video. The internet, from what I've read, is divided in whether this was justified or not. By the way, she's not pregnant. And I want to read you the script here from CNN as to the events. You tell me what you think. The officer knew the 45-year-old woman had outstanding warrants and started trying to arrest her. A witness cell phone showed the woman yelling at the officer, I'm actually walking to my house. The woman screams at him. She later says the officer is harassing her. The video shows the officer apparently trying to handcuff the woman, but she breaks free. The officer then fires the taser stun gun, and then the woman slowly drops to the ground. A scuffle ensues. The woman keeps yelling, why, but the officer isn't heard answering. As the officer keeps trying to arrest the woman, she flails her arms and yells, I'm pregnant. The struggle continued. According to Baytown police, the woman was able to gain control of the taser and use it on the officer. In the video, the woman appears to reach for the officer, who stands back and fires 5 shots. We're going to take another look at the video, but before we do that, I wanted to mention also, which I think is an important factor, is that it's being stated that she had mental health issues. In one report I saw that she had schizophrenia, and this is not to disparage the person, but it's just to state that mental health is a big issue. I try to plug it in whenever it's relevant to the story. A lot of times people get upset and they feel like it has nothing at all to do with the story, but I think it kind of puts things into context, because when I first saw this video and I didn't know that she had some sort of mental health underlying issues, I was wondering why she's saying she's pregnant when she's not, and I was also wondering why is she fighting the officer and why is she tussling with his weapon. I was just thinking, like, not a normal person wouldn't do that, but when you throw in schizophrenia in there, then that can make a little bit more sense. And also there's definitely a bridge or gap with police officers and mental health patients, and it's like, how do you know that somebody has mental health? Apparently the officer said that he knows about her warrant history. So do cops in that history have her mental health issues? underlying there. You know, like is there information input somewhere into a system? I think that there definitely needs to be like some sort of better system. I don't know how though. Like, how would you do this? You know, is there like a database? Would people even be willing to submit themselves? What about people that have diagnoses that haven't been diagnosed? I wanted to kind of take you through this. The quality is horrible, but let's take a little slower look. Hand control look, and here she is. He's trying to arrest her. It looks like he takes, I guess, his handcuffs, and she pushes away. He proceeds to engager. Now this is the taser thing. You might want to watch the intro video again. It's kind of hard to tell with the illumination, but he pulls it out, looks like. This is where he shot her, I believe. I believe this is the other end of the taser hitting her. She's a strong woman though. She didn't even drop from that though. And it looks like here they're tussling with it. Yeah, it looks like they're tussling with the taser. I mean, it's just really hard to tell, but it looks like they're tussling. She has his hands. Very, very hard to tell with this quality, man. I'm surprised this lady overpowered this guy, though. Couldn't control her. This is the part here where it's very controversial because you see the taser kind of illuminating going off. I don't know if it's in his hand, her hand, and he hops back and shoots her 5 times. I also have to note here that it does look like the gun is going off multiple times, the taser gun. You can go back to the beginning and listen to the taser gun firing multiple times. So my thoughts on this is that I want to hold off. I want to hold off and wait because there's a lot of missing information. I'm hearing different reports. There was actually some neighbors saying reportedly that this officer lived in the same complex. So I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but if it is, that's interesting because what it is that a lot of those neighbors in that complex, from what I read, they all knew she had mental health issues. They said that she wasn't apparently a bad person. She did have some outstanding warrants for some misdemeanors. And I also hear that there's a body cam that the police officer was wearing. So I would really like to see that footage also because I'm sure it's probably high quality. They definitely should release that. And I don't know, man, because in one hand, you have this person that which, by the way, if he's arresting her, he has the right to do so. She has outstanding warrants. The question is, I saw a lot of the community saying that he should have found another way to deal with her, like de-escalate with a mental health person. The thing is, how do you de-escalate with a mental health person? Like, once you try to put handcuffs on her and the person fights you off, right? I'm trying to look at this objectively. And then the next thing he did was taser. He didn't pull out a gun first. He escalated, but to the next level, which was a taser. They're scuffling, they're fighting. They get to the floor. He shot her one time. They get to the floor. While they're like kind of struggling on the floor, the taser gun's going off a couple times. And then he pulled out his gun. The argument for that is what I saw. Some people were saying that, well, she was already on the floor. He didn't need to pull out his gun. He could probably make the argument, well, she's already reaching for my weapon. She could shoot him with the taser if he gets hit. I don't know if he got hit or not. And then next thing she could go for is his gun. You know, so to me, it's a little too early. I want to see that camera. I want to know whether he lived in that complex. And I want to know whether he knew about that schizophrenia history, which it seems like he might have known. And also, how do you deal with somebody like this, you know, that has schizophrenia, that has a history? I believe I read one report that she got like an eviction notice at this complex and she became really irate. There's a history with her. So how do you deal with people when you can't, you know, control them? I guess some people are saying you could have called for backup. You know, I don't know. It's sad. It's tragic. But you know, it's just weird when you mix in the mental health issue, because if it wasn't for me knowing this, then I would say, well, that's not how you act in society. But given the fact that we have this whole mental health thing here, and it's like, how do you deal with that? You know, I don't know. And I almost wonder too if officers should carry some sort of cocktail. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be problematic, because like in the hospital for psych patients, they had like this cocktail. I think it's Thorazine. Is it Thorazine? Thorazine, Ativan, and Benadryl. It was like this weird cocktail you should see these nurses mix when somebody's getting. I mean, and usually in psych, you need multiple people to hold the person down just so you can inject them with that. I mean, I've seen even in psych ER where you need multiple people because they're so like amped up or whatever that you can't hold them down. So it's just really, I don't know. I'm conflicted. But I will get back to the story. I'm going to wait for more details. You guys comment below. Let me know what you think, what you feel. Was this justified? Was it not justified? Or are you on the side of you need to wait for some more details? How do you feel about the mental health? Comment down below. Have a good day. Peace.
I see potential subscribers. Subscribe for more. This is the mother info war.